On tonight's edition of The Overtime, snapping a win after a losing streak. What does Coconino baseball need to do in order to ensure a spot in the playoffs? What can Flagstaff High School softball do in order to win their last games of the season? Both NAU women and men's tennis are sweeping the courts. What are they doing to stay successful? Thank you for joining us and welcome to this edition of The Overtime, Northern Arizona's only sports show. I'm your host, Jasmine Flores. We have a packed show for you tonight with a lot of local sports action, and joining me is sports reporter Ali DeAndrea. Ali, how are you doing tonight?
Thanks, Jasmine. I'm doing great and I'm ready to get this thing started.
Well, on to our first topic of the night is Coconino baseball, and they have been skidding as of late. On Tuesday, they snapped their 5-game losing streak against Flagstaff High School in the first of 2 games against the Eagles. What do these Panthers need to do in order to finish strong and make the playoffs?
Well, Jasmine, the Coconino varsity baseball team is coming off of a few losses towards the end of the season. The Panthers started off strong, but as the season goes on, they have had some tough losses along the way. Overall, the Panthers are currently 12-13 and are ranked 82 in the state of Arizona. One of their most recent wins was against the Prescott Badgers earlier this week with a final score of 5-3. The Badgers and Panthers were head-to-head as they each received 3 runs in the 5th inning, but the Panthers were able to sneak in a few more runs towards the end, giving them that final win. The Panthers were able to win their big game rivalry against the Flagstaff Eagles this past week, wrapping up the game with a score of 4-2. Junior Matt Westling was able to secure one of those winning runs, getting the scoreboard up during this big rivalry match and helping the team get that win against their local opponents. The Panthers have a couple games left to finish out the season, so let's see if they can hit some home runs out of the park.
Ali, you did talk about the win against the Badgers, but I want to emphasize more on the win against the Eagles, where starting pitcher Jake Reed was able to throw 6 innings, giving up 5 hits and recording 10 strikeouts on their way to taking first of 2 games against Flagstaff. Staying on the diamond with the Flagstaff Eagles softball, what can these ladies do in order to win their last games of the season?
The Lady Eagles are wrapping up the year and hope to finish off strong to make up for the many losses they have received throughout this softball season. The majority of the Eagles' wins have been very close games, as these ladies like to put up a good fight. They play at home for the rest of the season, which should help them crank out a few more wins, which will boost their overall conference record. These ladies hope to fight for a spot in the playoffs, but will have to work hard during practice to get these last few wins to finish off the year. Luckily, the Eagles consist of mainly sophomores and juniors, so these ladies have some time to practice and dominate for next season.
That's right, these ladies are going to have to work hard if they want that playoff spot. Well, let's put on over to the range. This team closed their fall season with a 17th place in South Carolina. NAU finished the event at 85 over 949. The NAU Golf season is coming to a close and looking to place higher within the Big Sky Conference in Boulder City, Nevada this weekend. What are the chances these ladies are going to dominate the range out in Nevada, and who are the key players to watch out for?
Well, Jasmine, as the team's season comes to an end, they still have this whole upcoming weekend in Nevada to finish out with a bang. This past weekend, the team traveled to Tempe, Arizona for the Ping Arizona State Invitational and finished the weekend in 14th place. Key players that stood out during this tournament was golfer Kim Cifuentes, who went for a 5 over 77 tall on Sunday, as well as golfer Carly Aiken, who recorded her best round of the tournament that day at 6 over 78. The team was proud of where they finished this past weekend, as they went up against 8 schools that are all ranked in the top 50 nationally. These Jacks are not far from where they need to be to dominate in Nevada this upcoming weekend.
I would like to emphasize a little bit more on Sofia and Okina. On Tuesday, this Moscow native shot at 1 over 73 and finished the place tournament for 61st place on the individual leaderboard. And Okina then registered 4 birdies during the final set of 18. It seems like there isn't anything this young athlete can't do. Nothing but the best of luck to head coach Bedortha and these Lady Lumberjacks heading out to Nevada this weekend to defend their place within the Big Sky Conference Championship. Time to swing on over to our final topic of the night. Both NAU women and men's tennis seem to be dominating on all courts they swing on. Women's tennis remains the only undefeated team within the Big Sky Conference with a 10-0 record and are 16-4 overall. And men's tennis just ended the regular season in first place. This team has increased to a 10-1 conference record and 15-7 overall. The big question is, what can these teams do to stay successful?
Well, first, let's talk about how great the women's tennis team is doing this season. These ladies are on fire and only have lost a total of 4 games this season. And at one point, were able to keep a 6-game winning streak and plan to make it 7 this weekend as they go up against Weber State. They were able to lock in a spot and are now only a few matches away from the Big Sky Conference Invitational. Some important players to look out for is freshman Kiara Tomasetti, who received Player of the Week, and senior Blanca Seve as they worked as a pair to get nationally ranked number 63 in doubles and are undefeated at 7-0 in conference. This women's tennis team takes every win and court count they receive to give them that drive that pushes them to their future wins, as well as coming together as a team to finish as strong as they started. Now, as for the men's tennis team, these guys are finishing off the season with barely any losses and coming out strong with a 4-game winning streak to wrap up their final games. 3 strong players this season are Ruben Montano, Lucas Taylor, and Tim Handel, as they all have received a Big Sky Player of the Week honor this season and have a combined 37 single wins. They are shooting for a conference title so they can play in the Big Sky Conference Invitational and have been working harder than ever as a team to get there. And even though they are currently in first place, these Jacks will still have to fight for their regular season title.
Allie, did you know that last spring season these ladies swept the Montana Grizzlies with the final score of 6-1 and dominated the courts, beating the Grizzlies again this past Sunday with a 7-0 sweep? And to comment on men's tennis, these Lumberjacks are going straight into the Big Sky tournament on an A4 winning match streak and potentially #1 seed for the first time since 1982.